There's a study that almost nobody talks about. It found that when lottery winners received millions of dollars overnight, within 5 years, the majority returned to the exact same financial position they were in before the money arrived. Not close to broke, broke. The same address, the same stress, the same ceiling. And the disturbing part? They didn't waste it on drugs or gambling or cars, they just went back. Like gravity, like something inside them was pulling them down to a number. A specific number. A financial set point they couldn't escape no matter how much money fell from the sky. So the question isn't, how do people make money? The real question, the one that should terrify you, is, why does the brain sabotage it? Let me tell you about a man named Carl. Carl grew up in a small apartment. Single mum. Thin walls. The sound of unpaid bills hiding in a kitchen drawer. He watched his mother count change every Friday night, with a kind of quiet dignity that broke him slowly over years. He told himself he'd be different, and in his 30s he was different. He started a business. It grew. He made more in 1 year than his mother made in a decade. But then something strange happened. He started making mistakes. Not small mistakes, unconscious ones. He hired the wrong people. He overpaid. He avoided investors for reasons he couldn't explain. He'd get close to the next level and then self-destruct. Quietly. Systematically. It took him years and a therapist to understand what was actually happening. Carl didn't have a money problem, he had an identity problem. And that distinction, that single shift in understanding, is what changes everything. Psychologists call it a financial thermostat. The idea is unsettling in its simplicity. Every human being carries a subconscious number, a wealth set point, an internal temperature of what money feels like it should be. And your nervous system, not your logic, not your ambition, not your spreadsheet. Your nervous system is what enforces it. Go below the number and your brain activates. Suddenly you're creative, hungry, motivated. You grind, you hustle, you find ways. Go above the number and something else activates. Something quieter, something that looks like bad luck from the outside, but from the inside feels like comfort, like relief, like going home. This is the part almost nobody talks about because we've been sold a story that broke people are lazy, that rich people are disciplined, that the difference is effort, but what if the difference is something far deeper, far older, and far harder to escape? What if it's not about what you do, but about what you believe you deserve? Here's where it gets darker. Most people's financial set point isn't chosen, it's installed. Between the ages of 0 and 7, your brain is operating primarily in theta waves. It's essentially a recording device. No filter, no analysis, just pure absorption. And during those years, you watched, you listened, you felt what money meant in the house you grew up in. Was money scarce? Then scarcity became the emotional wallpaper of your nervous system. Was money shameful? Something people thought about in hushed, vicious tones. Then your brain filed it. Dangerous. Avoid. Was money something only other kinds of people had? People who were luckier, smarter, better connected? Then your identity formed around the absence of it. And here's the twist that makes this so insidious. You grew up. You got educated. You read the books. You listened to the podcasts. But the program running underneath, the one installed before you could even read, it's still running. Every financial decision you make is filtered through it. Every opportunity you pursue or don't. Every raise you don't ask for. Every client you undercharge. Every investment you convince yourself is too risky. It's not fear of failure, it's fear of arrival. There's a concept in neuroscience that should change the way you see yourself. The brain's primary function is not to make you happy. It's not to make you rich. It's not even to keep you safe in the way you might think. Its primary function is to make your external reality match your internal model of yourself. Read that again. Slowly. Your brain is a prediction machine, and it hates being wrong about you. So if your internal model says, I am someone who struggles with money, your brain will unconsciously engineer the conditions to validate that belief. It will make you forget to follow up on the deal. It will trigger anxiety right before the important call. It will whisper, who do you think you are? At every threshold of success. Psychologists call this identity foreclosure. The refusal, unconscious, relentless, to become someone your nervous system hasn't approved. But then something strange happened in the research. Scientists studying upward mobility found that the people who broke their financial ceiling weren't the most intelligent. They weren't the hardest workers. They weren't the most disciplined, or the most talented, or the best connected. They were the ones who at some point had a crisis of identity. A moment where the old story about who they were became unbearable, not inspiring, not motivating, unbearable. There's a difference, and that difference is everything. This is the part that's hardest to hear. For many people, staying broke is not a failure. It's a strategy, not consciously, not cruelly, not lazily, but on a deep, unconscious, evolutionary level. Struggle feels safe because broke is familiar, and familiar is predictable, and predictable. To an ancient mammalian brain that survived millennia of predators, predictable means survivable. Wealth, on the other hand, is unknown, and the unknown is where threats live. So the brain creates symptoms: procrastination, self-doubt, sabotage disguised as circumstance. It manufactures delays, distractions, disasters, all to keep you close to the version of reality it knows how to navigate. And the cruelest part? It feels virtuous. It feels like humility, like being realistic, like not being greedy, like knowing your place. Society even rewards it, because a person who stays in their lane is easier to manage, easier to predict, easier to sell things to. So the system that keeps you broke isn't just internal, it's external too. And they reinforce each other with elegant, terrifying precision. So let's step back. Let's look at the full picture. You were born into a world that installed a financial identity before you could question it. That identity calcified into a nervous system set point. That set point became the invisible hand that shaped every financial decision you've made as an adult. The lottery winner doesn't lose the money because they're irresponsible. They lose it because $10 million doesn't match the internal image of who they are. And the brain, faithful, relentless, unconscious, works day and night to restore coherence. But here is the thing that actually matters. Identity is not fixed. The brain is plastic. Not infinitely, not easily, but genuinely, fundamentally plastic. It can be rewritten, not with affirmations, not with vision boards, with repeated experience at the edge of the old story. Every time you charge what you're worth and don't collapse from guilt, you rewrite one line of code. Every time you walk away from a bad deal that feels familiar instead of safe, you rewrite one line of code. Every time you sit in the discomfort of having more, of taking up more space, of asking for more, you rewrite one line of code. It's slow. It's uncomfortable. It's not what the personal development industry wants to sell you, but it's the only thing that actually works. Carl, the man I told you about at the beginning, eventually figured it out. Not through a course, not through a strategy. He figured it out the night he looked at his bank account, saw a number larger than anything his mother ever had, and felt something cold move through his chest. Not pride, not relief, terror. And he recognized it. He named it. He said, "That's not danger. That's unfamiliarity pretending to be danger." And he let himself stay. That's the whole game. That's the thing behind the thing. The poverty most people carry isn't in their wallet. It's in the story they haven't yet been brave enough to stop believing. And the most expensive thing you will ever own is the version of yourself you've already outgrown.